Hey, I'm Courtney Thomas, and today I want to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, and that is personal growth. It's kind of why I'm here. It's probably why you're here. But what's really interesting about personal growth is that it is a super broad and deep and layered conversation because we all have different perceptions of what it means and of how we want to go about it and, really what we're ready for. So, I kind of just want to give you a little bit to think about today when it comes to this. And I want to start with kind of broaching this idea that right now there's a ton out there, especially for women in the realm of personal growth, self-help, if you want to call it that, personal development, even self-care could kind of be considered in this category. There's just an absolute overload of information and opportunities to learn and, courses to take and things to read and books and retreats. All of the things, right? And, it's all absolutely with these amazing goals of, getting to know ourselves better and, all of this good stuff. Again, growth, right? That's the ultimate objective. So, there's a ton out there, but, it's funny, if you know me in person, you'll often hear me talk about how a lot of the stuff that's out there, not bothers me, not gets under my skin, but, I kind of take note of because it's very, just to be completely upfront and factual about it, it's very like surface level. There's a lot out there. If you scroll Instagram a lot, or, you're on Facebook, or maybe you're on some email lists, or you read, some like websites that, curate from a bunch of different places, like you'll kind of see a lot of stuff that sort of looks the same. That's kind of like surface motivational, inspirational, be grateful and journal and, things like that. And, depending on where you're at, that can be really useful. And you might be able to get a good bit of growth out of some of that stuff. I like to think about it that we're all on a spectrum, and when you're first starting to decide that you want to make personal growth a priority, a lot of that stuff can be an excellent entry point. It might be that a friend of yours read a certain book and, it was really influential for them. And it was kind of just some basic concepts, but a good introduction to this work, but at a certain point, there's a lot out there that kind of stays in that bucket. And, you can kind of continue to read and read and read from different authors, or, take different courses or do different challenges or whatever format it may be. And kind of stagnate in the growth and almost not even realize it. And this is, kind of where I'm like, hey, did you sort of notice that this was happening and that this was out there? And again, that's why I notice it a little bit, because often what happens is, I'll talk to people, and a lot of times it's clients or client consults, or, when I'm out networking or that kind of a thing, to where women are like, yeah, I'm so into this. And I'm like, oh yeah, so like, how's that going? And they kind of don't realize it, but they're like bumped up against a barrier. Like, well, I've gotten here. Oh, but like, And I'm like, that's funny. So yeah, I get it. And I think that's amazing. And that is all wonderful stuff and great resources. But what if you went deeper? And that can be scary. And I get it. And again, we're all on a spectrum, right? Like, so, some people are not ready for that. Everybody, their timeline is a little bit different, and that is wonderful. Again, a lot of this stuff is really great. But my question in this conversation of true personal growth, like if this is something that you're really interested in, and, there's stuff going on in your life that you want to go through and grow through, like you sort of have to go deeper. And, you can't limit yourself to just whatever the next book is, or whoever the next guru is, or whatever that may be. And going deeper, like paradoxically, yeah, it might involve some different resources that you have to actively seek out in a different way. It might involve a lot more individual, one-on-one, targeted, maybe it's a smaller group, very personalized investment of time and energy and money. But more than anything, going deeper so often involves like actually doing work yourself. And, you know, it's interesting because when I have this conversation with a woman who is like ready for that and like, oh yeah, wow, I didn't even realize that's what I had been doing. And I think I am ready to take the next step. It kind of becomes easier, you know, and it makes all the sense in the world to then, you know, again, maybe it's have start a close coaching relationship that's a little bit more individualized to work on specific things, you know, or maybe it's even like, hey, have you thought about this? You know, have you ever heard of this? And it's surprising how often, you know, people are kind of like, oh no, I was stuck in this one circle of things. You know, but then sometimes too, I'll meet people who are kind of like, oh gosh, like, I don't even know, but like, how do I do that? And my first suggestion, if you are at the place in your timeline, in your spectrum, where you're ready to go from surface to a little bit deeper, is to stop. Just stop. Take a break. Take a breath and take an action. Because what I have seen so often in my experience over years of coaching is that, again, like, we're so ready to start growing personally, professionally, developing in all of these ways. But because of kind of the world and the culture that we live in, we're continually like chasing that all the time. Again, like, what's the next book? Oh, so-and-so said this. So-and-so's doing this coaching. So-and-so is going to this thing, you know, whatever it may be. And we continually chase and chase and chase and chase and chase. And it may or may not get us, you know, to deeper levels or where we need to be. But a lot of times we might learn a lot of different things, but we don't stop and take the time to implement them. And, you know, again, say a book, for example, or, you know, a workshop that you go to, you might learn some really incredible stuff. But if you don't take a break from all the other noise and all the other surface stuff that you're absorbing and continually seeking out, where is that getting you? Does that get you the growth? You know, you gotta at least like try the one thing, or, you know, try to take an action, one thing that you learned from that before you just start to jump to the next thing. You know, and that's really the very best way to start going a little deeper in this. And sometimes, again, that's going to lead to other amazing resources. It might bump you through that barrier, you know, to where you're not continually like just doing more things, buying more things, working with other things, you know, whatever that may be, to really commit to, oh my gosh, okay, this is the thing that I need, or this is the person that I want to work with, or this is the method that I'm going to choose, whatever it may be, to really dig down deep into it and get like this incredible growth that just kind of comes up all the way through your earth and your ground and your foundation beyond just chasing things. So, you know, again, it's a really interesting conversation, and we all, again, like I said, we all approach personal growth completely differently, but I wanted to kind of put this out there today, you know, to like kind of give you some awareness of like, oh, does that sound familiar to you? You know, do you do some scrolling? Do you do some searching? You know, that kind of a thing, or, you know, meet up with your friends and hear about all this stuff and then just kind of go off on a tangent there without ever really like stopping, taking a breath, and then taking an action and implementing something in your life to go to that deeper level. You know, because really that's where it's at. That is 100% where the real personal growth is at. You know, it's not memes and double taps and, you know, emails and stuff like that. It's you taking some of the responsibility on yourself too, to actually go after some of this stuff and not just, you know, pile it all on, but use it and try it out and see how it works for you. And then, you know, if you got to move on, you got to move on. But my thought today is, again, like, what if you go deeper? And what if you take the responsibility for that? And what if you just stop and see how it goes? So I would love to hear your experience and your thoughts, you know, on this whole, again, personal, professional development growth, all of this, you know, what your favorite experiences have been and, you know, what your thoughts are. And I'm always here to chat about it. I love it. And I mean, obviously I love to be the person to facilitate that going deeper part, you know, so if that's something you're interested in, you absolutely know where to find me. But I would love to hear your thoughts on if you've experienced this at all. You know, you can always put that in the comments. You can always shoot me an email over at my website, CourtneyThomas.com. And I hope you'll think about it next time that you are thinking about personal growth and you're grabbing a book or you are checking out an Instagram account or whatever it may be. What if you went deeper? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.